Okay. So hi all. Hope you all are doing good. So I'm your host for the day. Where we're going to talk about Power Query. So before we start this thing up over here, where we start talking about Power Query. So may I just have a little bit of chit chat where you can share answers in the chat, where I would like to understand. Have you all some exposure on the Power BI? Do you all have some understanding around what Power BI is? Why do we use it? And what is the goal we try to achieve when it comes to uh, using this tool up? So I see Abhishek, Akshat. Okay, so we have some people, Ramalingam, you don't have any idea? Not very much. No worries. See, because what we're going to do today in today's session is, yep, we are going to talk about a topic of Power Query, which anyhow is a standalone topic and the most important, I would say, when it comes to working with the data in the Power BI, right? So let me just start this off by a small, a slide to make you understand how the things really work when we talk about data visualizations. See, I like to start this thing, which is a very generic thing, which we all should be aware of. Like, when we talk about report creations, right? When we talk about business intelligence, what exactly it is, right? Business intelligence is all about that how we create some well-structured and well-defined reports which can be utilized by the management in order to do a better decision making, right? That's what the goal of this tool Power BI also is, right? This is a tool which helps us in creating, functional reports to help decision making. Now, when it comes to decision making and when it comes to reports, so how does that process actually starts, right? This process is something which starts by integration of the data to one single place. See, now in every organization, data is something which is generated in numerous formats, right? Data could be in the Excel file, data could be in the CSV file, data could be in the form of databases. So there can be number of ways or number of means through which the data is generated. As the first step of that is you have to bring all your data to one single place. Now, see, this is not just with Power BI. This is something which applies to any BI tool or any BI activity that we do. This is more like a generic process that we follow. So we bring all the data from different data sources to one single place. Once you have brought the data to one centralized location, right? Once you have all the data to one single place, now what will happen? That data might not be usable right away. You will have to spend a lot of time in terms of doing data cleansing, transformation, right? So when I say cleaning, transformation, it's more like, we are talking about where, like there can be some duplicates, there can be some blank rows, there can be some unwanted columns, there can be, some append of the data is required. So there are numerous activities that we are supposed to do so that we can bring the data in the proper shape. And once the data is transformed, that is when we start creating the charts on top of that. So today's webinar is solely going to revolve around this area, right? Data transformation. Definitely, we will have to talk about integration also, where we will talk about how we bring the data into the Power BI. So that's the first step that we will need. But largely, it will be around data transformation. Okay. Now, this whole activity that I was trying to explain you, right? This whole activity, that I explained you, where you spend a lot of time in data cleansing and everything. Now, if I ask you, when you create or see the reports, when you see the reports, that report creation, is it a one-time activity? What will your answers? When you see a report, you see it once, or you keep seeing that report on the ongoing basis? So, right, Partha? So that report will be, maybe you might like to see that report on a daily basis. It might be weekly, quarterly. There can be different scenarios, right? But definitely that report is something which you are going to see it multiple times again. Now, when you are seeing that report, so definitely this data process that we are talking over here, right? This data flow and data activities that we are talking over here. That means every time when you open that report, you will definitely be seeing the latest numbers there, right? Now, you will not be seeing the old report every day. So that data is dynamic. Every day, what happens is that report has to be feeded with the latest data, and that entire thing will again need transformation. And we can't keep doing the transformations every day. So that's where we have to kind of establish a system which helps in automating this entire process so that you don't have to repeat the same activities for the same report daily on a daily basis. That's where we talk about automating this process. And Power BI is one tool which comes with that capability inbuilt. Okay. And how do we do that? That's what we are going to explore in today's session. Okay. So let's get on to it. So, we will keep the things very much, hands-on, and I'll be showing you all the activities over here. Just allow me 1 second. We now, what happened is when we talk about data cleansing over here in Power BI. So for that, there is an engine that is installed in Power BI, which we call it as Power Query, right? Basically, Power BI is comprised of multiple components like Power View, Power Query, Power Pivot. Now, Power Query is the component. What it does, it helps you in doing the data cleaning activities. Okay, so that's where we will be seeing this up. So let me quickly launch Power BI and let's get these things, you know, see this hands-on. So basically, the use of the whole Power Query will be to clean the data, tidy up the data, and put the data into a more usable format and identifying and establishing relationships. So, right, it's more like a ETL, right? Like extraction, transformations, and loading. So we use that term ETL also, and ETL there are standalone ETL tools also which come into the market like SSIS, Alteryx, Informatica. But Power BI is a tool which has ETL capabilities in house, and using that tool itself, you can create your charts and graphs as well. Okay, so let me just launch this up. So here you see we have this Power BI launched up. Okay, see, as the first thing, now I will actually show you how to first of all load the data in the Power BI and how does Power Query comes into the action to serve that purpose for you. So I'm going to click on Excel workbook because we are going to load the data from an Excel file. Okay, so I will use one file which is sample superstore Power BI. See, this file right now is cleaned. There is no data cleaning that is required in this particular file, the first file that I'm going to load right now. Okay, so this Excel file has multiple sheets. Okay, now I have to select which sheet do I really want to bring the data from. So I'm going to select my table of orders. So if I click on orders, the data will be loaded from this Excel file. See, in this orders table, you have the data regarding row ID, order ID. We have the information like, what order was sold on what date, in which country, right? What was the shipping date? What was the shipping mode? Who was the customer who purchased it, right? And what was the product that was sold to that customer, product name, sales values, quantity of that product, discount and profit. So all that information is something which is provided to us in this file. Now, when I load the data, this is called extraction. This process that I am doing right now is called extraction. See, I'm extracting the data from that Excel file. And if I click on load, now you will notice this data is now going to get loaded in my Power BI platform. So I have done extraction and I have done loading. And in between, transformation is something which has also happened, which I will be showing you right now. It will just take a while to get this data loaded. All right. So we can see the data has been loaded. And on the right hand side, I will be able to see that thing up over here. See, if I expand this little arrow, if I click on this, see, I can see all the data that has been loaded over here. Okay. Khajav Singh, so definitely you don't need SQL because you will see the concepts of SQL will be used here. So I'll be explaining them anyhow, right? So that you don't need to worry that, okay, if you don't know SQL, can you really work on Power BI? Yes, you can. You need to understand the concept. If that is there, you can work it. And if you have the knowledge of SQL, that's a good thing to have. Okay. Now you see the data has been loaded. Now what I need to do over here is this is where you will see the option of transform data. Now when you click on transform data over here, so what will happen is there is a new window that will open up for you, which tells you Power Query Editor. Right now, this is the window where the data transformation activities are actually going to happen up over here in this. All right. Now, over here, when you open this window, over here in this window, what happens is in the center over here, you will see the data. Here you can see the complete data over here right now. On the right hand side, you will see something called as applied steps. And at the top over here, this is called as a toolbar. Okay, this is a toolbar where you will have multiple options to perform in order to clean your data up. Now this data is anyhow in a good structure, right? You don't have to, this has very few data changes that we will be requiring, but let's understand how and what has happened in the back end when the data was loaded. So what we need to do right now is, first of all, I will start my explanation from here. See, over here, this is called as applied steps. Applied steps means what are the actions you have taken over the data. Right now, we have not taken any action on the data, right? If you will actually notice, we have not done any action on this data. So it's more about over here. What was the first thing that we did? We connected to an Excel file. So what my Power BI has done, it has captured that step source. It is saying the source of data is Excel file and the data is coming from this file, which is placed at this location. So that complete information is saved over here. You can see file path, file name, everything is saved. Now, when the connection was made with that file, this is what we saw, right? We saw these were the sheets that were there in that Excel. What was the next step that we all did? We were able to see all the name of the sheets, orders, returns, people, main data. What was the next step that we all did, everyone? We loaded the data from orders. Correct? That was the second step that we did. We selected the orders to load the data up. Correct? That is what is captured in the next step, that the user has selected the orders sheet to load the data. The data got loaded over here. Okay. That is the second step that was captured by Power BI. Now, when the data got loaded, I can see there is an issue with the header. Header is something which is not aligned properly. Header should be actually coming over here. So headers was something which was then corrected out by Power BI. It said promoted headers. Okay, so what happened over here now? In the next step, it took the first row as a header. It said, okay, first row is not the data, it is a header. So that's why this row goes up. Correct? Now, see, these are all the things that have happened behind the scenes. I'm just explaining you right now. Then what happened is in the fourth step, this is an important step. Over here, what Power BI does, it identifies the data type of each column. Okay, you will notice something over here. It's written ABC123, ABC123, ABC123. So now Power BI, is going to read the data. It reads top 1000 rows. See, even if in your Excel file you have you have 10 lakh rows, in the Power Query right now it has loaded only top 1000 rows, not the entire data. It's not the entire data that is loaded, it is only the top 1000 rows that have been loaded over here. Okay. Now, when I click on changed type, This is where what Microsoft Power BI is doing. It is assigning a data type to each column. It is saying 1, 2, 3. That means it has assigned the data type as 1, 2, 3 to this column because every data is numeric over here. Because every data is numeric, so it has assigned the data type as 1, 2, 3. If you see over here, it's written ABC. That means over here the data is alphanumeric. Here you can see date symbol because the data is of date type. So there is a data type that has been assigned to each column. Clear to all of you? Any question till this part? So no, Abhay. So see, basically what will happen is in the power query, it reflects only top 1000 rows just for the optimization, right? But when the data is loaded, it's the entire data that has been loaded. It's not just the top 1000 rows. The entire data is loaded, but here you see only top 1000 rows by default. But if you feel that no, boss, I want to see entire data, that is also something which you can do. If you click on this little symbol over here, you say, please do the column profiling based on entire data set. There you go. Now the entire data is loaded. Not just the top 1000 rows, it's the complete data that is loaded. Got it, everyone? Okay. See, now what happened is, now this is where your role comes into the picture. Now, for example, you have loaded some data and you feel like you want to do some cleaning on it. You will see there's an option of remove rows, right? And before I do that, you will see there is one line that is going over here. You see a green line. What does this green line signify? This green line tells you that if I hover on this, it tells you that there are total 9994 values and 150 values are empty. See, in case in any column, okay, in any column, you have any missing values or you have any errors, right? If in any column you have any missing values or you have any blank columns, so it reflects that thing over here. See, the green portion tells you there are valid values. Black portion tells you that there are some blank values. And if there are some errors, the line will have a red color in that. You see, errors are zero because the errors are zero. So that's why nothing is getting reflected. Otherwise, if there are errors that are already there, the line will be of red color a little bit. Now I can see there are some blank values and I can see that is everywhere. I can see those blank values are everywhere. Getting it? Right. Empty means null. Blank value, null value, empty, all the things mean the same. So Rajshekhar, error could be something like this. See, basically what happened is, like as I was telling you, right, the column profiling happens based on 1000 rows. Now, if suppose in the numeric data, you have some text data that is coming up. The column is numeric, there is some text data. So I cannot convert a text to a number. So that data will become error. Sometimes you load the data from some Excel files. In the Excel files, you have applied some formulas, right? And you have some hash NA or hash value errors, and that has got loaded in the Power BI. That will be an error. Make sense? No, not the typo errors. See, typo error can be now, Power BI is not concerned about what you have typed. Now, for example, you have written second class. If the spellings are wrong, it doesn't care about that. Power BI will assume that you are looking for that particular value only. Okay. Make sense? So for the typecasting, then you will have to change the data type. You will to change the data type. You will say that, okay, if there are some character values, you will have to make sure that the data type of the overall column is text. Correct? Because see, in the column of number, I cannot have text data. But in the column of text, I can have the numbers. Right? So that's why you will have to change the data type of that column from number to character. And if you want to change the data type, you can just click on this icon and you can change the data type of any column that you want. So you can change the data type of any column with just one click. You want to convert this into some other value, you just choose that up and you are there. Are you all clear on this? Now, the next option that we are going to talk over here is that's going to be remove rows. See, now if I click on the remove rows, you want to remove top rows. See, if I say top rows, I am saying I want to remove top 10 rows. See, the first 10 rows will be removed. You will notice first 10 rows have been removed from the data. Okay. Now what happens is when you apply any step, you will see a step has been added over here. Removed top rows. Now in Power Query, all of you, Control Z, Control Y doesn't work. You can't say Control Z to undo. If you want that data back, you have to click on this cross sign. So if I click on this cross sign, the step is deleted and my overall data is back. Correct? Now my 10 rows that were removed, they are back. Okay. You want to remove bottom rows. You can say I want to remove last 10 rows. That can be done. So you can remove the last 10 rows in case if you want. Okay. You want to remove blank rows. See, I can see there are a lot of blank rows in the data. You see, that's why that black portion is coming. If I say remove blank rows, see, all the blank rows are removed from the table. You can see all the blank rows are deleted. Okay. If you want to remove some duplicate data, right? Like you have the option of remove duplicates. So if suppose I press Control A, Control A will select the entire data for you. Control A will select the entire data for you. And from here, I'm going to say remove duplicates. So the duplicate data will be removed. Okay. But if you want to remove the duplicate data only from one column, if I select shipping mode and I say I would like to remove duplicates. See, now based on the shipping mode, duplicate data is getting removed. And if I undo it, all the data will be back. So if I undo it, all the data will be back. Right once, all of you. I mean, so, right. Now, similarly, if you come over here, you have some rows which have errors, right? You have data which are having the errors. So now, if I say remove errors, so what will happen in that case is all that rows which are having errors, that data will be removed. So you can remove the rows based on these criteria that you have. Okay. If in case you want to remove the rows based on a condition, right? Like there was a question also that was being asked over here. Suppose in the data, I don't want the data of this customer clear good. If you click on this little drop down, I will just type this clear good. I will say I don't want his data and click OK. See, now his data is filtered out. Filtered out means as good as data is removed. So the data of this customer is removed. Clear, everyone? Okay. If I delete this step, data will be back. So we have seen the number of ways how we can actually remove the rows that we do not want. This is how we can remove the rows that we do not want. Now, likewise, we have the option over here to remove the columns also. Like, for example, you don't want the column of row ID. This column is not required. So you can say remove column. See, this column will be removed. So you can remove the columns that are not required. Okay. And you want that column back, you will undo that step. See, now try to understand the reason why all these steps are getting applied is because when you will refresh the data, see, when you will refresh the data, so Power BI will remember that these are the activities that have to be done on that data that you have loaded. So that means you just have to define this step once And when you will refresh that data up, everything will be automatically taken care of. Getting it, everyone? Okay. Now, like we talked about remove rows, you have the option of keep rows. I am saying I only want to keep some of the top rows. If you say I want to keep 10 rows, see, rest of the data is removed. Only first 10 rows are kept for you. Okay. And if I delete it, all the data is back. The same options that we saw in the remove gets applied for keep now. Okay. So Akshay, these settings are basically whatever transformation you did. You see over here, like if you see this over here, I said removed bottom rows. So over here, you will be able to see that how many rows you removed. See, it shows that you removed 10 rows. You want to change that number, you can do it. If you want to make it 20 and click OK, according to that, the things will happen. And then make sure you click on the last step. Okay. So if we have remove, see, you have this option over here to remove the rows which are like this, alternate rows. So in this, you can define that, okay, starting from the 15th row, right, remove 5 rows, right? So this is one, but over here, what will now happen is you actually have to define number of rows to keep. So typically just those 5 rows, you will not be able to delete it. That, okay, you are saying that I want to get rid of that particular rows. So that step you don't have. Okay. Data you can update. So you refresh it. When you click on refresh, that's where the data will be updated. So you just have to click on refresh button and your data will be refreshed. Okay. Now you have an option over here, which is split column, right? Split column. I'm sure many of you would be already aware of this. Like this is the same option that you have in Excel by the name of text to columns. Like you have the column of order ID. Now I'm saying I want to split the column of order ID by delimiter. So see, wherever the hyphen is coming, I can split the column. See, I'm saying wherever the hyphen is coming, the data should split. See, if I click on this, data is splitted. Okay. You can see the data has been split into multiple columns. So when you do the splitting of the data, there are 2 steps that are getting applied. One is split column. And because, when you're splitting the column, some new columns are getting added. So in those columns, Power BI is assigning the data type also for them. So it's taking care of everything. You split the column, new columns are getting added, and the data type is assigned to them. Okay. So Parda, so you cannot type the values if the data is loaded. But if you want to make a separate table where you want to type the data up, so by typing, you can make a separate table, but not in the existing tables, you can't add it. Okay. You'll have to make a new table for that, where you will type everything there, whatever you want. How to change column? So after you have split the data, right? After you have split the data here, so if you say by delimiter, you want to split the data up. So you can just double click on that column. Whatever the data has got splitted, just you have to double click on that. You double click over here, you can rename it. Okay. So any column can be renamed based on your requirement. Correct. So whatever changes, Chandra, we are doing over here, they are applicable in the Power BI, not on the main data. So your main data will not be affected, whether it's a data warehouse or it is a Excel or it's a PDF, CSV, whatever source it is not going to impact the main source data over here. Right. Okay. Now see that in the split column, Power BI actually provides you number of options. Like for example, you want to split the data by number of characters. You can define the position that, okay, I want to split the data at 5th position, 7th position, 11th position. You can define those positions. You can split it by lowercase to uppercase. So basically, whenever the data is going to convert from lowercase to uppercase, data will keep splitting, or from upper to lowercase, data will keep splitting. So you have number of options to control how you want to split the data. Okay. No, Diksha, you cannot download the data from here. Okay. From the Power Query, you cannot download the data. Okay. So I hope splitting is clear to all of you. What splitting is and how does it works? Mm-hmm. The next option that we have over here is group by. We have a group by option. So what is the use of group by now? See, group by is something which we use to create a summary of the data. Okay, now see, although you will not be using this much, right? Group by is something which we use when you have a very granular data with you. When you have a very high granular data with you, that is where we use this option of group by, right? So I'll show you. So what happened is, like, before I just use the group by, what happens in Power Query is when you have done some transformations, you always have to click on close and apply. See, when you will close and apply, that's when these changes will be applied to the main data. Okay. So when I click on close and apply, that is when all these changes are being applied to the main data right now. See, you will see it is applying those changes, and there you are. See, your now Power BI has the transformed data in this. Okay, Power Query, Power BI now has the transformed data over here. So what I'll do, I'll click on transform data again. Okay. So here what I will do is I am going to now define. Okay. I will use group by. See, group by is for aggregation, rightly, as you have mentioned. So for example, if I select the column of shipping mode, if I say shipping mode and I say group by, I want to group my data by shipping mode. See, when I do that, it will ask me that, okay, I want to group the data by shipping mode, where I would like to make a new column of total sales in which I want to show sum of sales. And you click on OK. So what will now happen over here is, this is how the data is going to look like. You will have the shipping modes, and for each shipping mode, you can see the total sales right now over here in this. Getting it, all of you? So for each shipping mode, now what has happened is, after group by, my data is completely transformed. You will notice this data is completely changed now. So if I will click on close and apply now, see, technically in the data, with data in Power BI, I am only left behind with 2 columns. This is what I'm left behind with. See, there you are. You will now notice I am only left behind with 2 columns here, right? So, which is not a good thing to do, because this is something which we can do at the visualization level as well. So what I do is I go back to my Power Query. So over here now I will remove this step. I'm going to remove this step of grouped rows because this is not needed. See, everyone, once you have worked on this file and you have saved this file, what you can also do is, please remember that whatever transformation activities you are doing over here right now, you can always change them as well, right? Like for example, you have closed and saved this file today, and now you open this file after 2 days and you realize you want to make some changes to the existing steps. Not to worry, not to worry, you can all just come over here and you can make the changes into it. That's totally customizable afterwards as well. Okay. All right. Now, the next step that we're going to talk over here right now is, see, we have seen till group by. Now over here, I'm actually going to bring some bad data and we'll start making much more practical use of this Power Query. See, I'm giving you a hypothetical scenario. See, what has happened is this superstore for which the data is loaded, it has sent us data in one Excel file. Then after a few days, they have sent us another Excel file. What has happened is this store has opened some new stores. They have opened new stores in 2 new regions. Right now, if you will notice, this store is working only in, this store is having only 4 regions: Central, East, West, and South. The store is operating in 4 regions right now. Okay. Now they have started their operations in 2 more regions, which they are calling it as new region 2. And the data of all the transactions that have happened in new region and new region 2, that data is something which is sent to me in another Excel file. See, if I show you over here, so there's another Excel file. So I can load the data from the Power Query also. If I click on new source and I say Excel workbook, and I will choose that same file, I will choose that new file, which is by the name of sample superstore new region, and I will say open. So I have made my connection to that another Excel file, which is shared by the client, and I will choose orders over here. See, now this data that you will notice is in a bad shape. You see, there are some null values, headers are coming here, and likewise. So what do? I will right now just load it up. So here I can see this is my orders, new region. So in this file, I have loaded the data of orders new region right now. And I can clearly see the data is not properly loaded. What is the first step that I should be doing here, everyone? See, I can say remove top 2 rows, or I can say remove blank rows. You know, these rows are completely blank, right? So any of the action can be done. So I will say remove blank rows, right? If I say remove blank rows, all the blank rows are removed. Okay. Now, what do we see as which needs to be corrected? Headers. So heading I can see is not coming correctly. So here you will see that option of use first row as header. Okay. So if I click on this, you will see your headers will be sorted out. You will see the data coming in a proper, better shape like this. So that's where your data is in a good shape now. Okay, that's where we have done 2 steps to bring this data in a proper usable format as of now. All right. Now, what is the next step that we're going to have over here? See, you can all notice that the orders data is in one table and some data is in second table. So if I have to create a consolidated report, what should I do? Combine the data. So technically this data and this data should be consolidated into one file. Okay. So what we will have to use over here is, we will actually have to use the step which we call it as append queries. We call it as append queries, not mulch. Okay, we will use the functionality of append. So basically I have 2 data sets, ID and name, ID and name. Here I have the ID as 1, 2, 3. and the name is given to me. Here also I have some IDs and the names are given to me. I want to combine this data one below the another like this. Okay, I am saying I would like to combine the data of both the tables together, one below the another. This concept is called as append queries. This is something which we call it as append queries. Now for append queries, you have to keep in mind column names must be same, data type must be same, sequence can be different. Sequence can be different. Like for example, in this table, the data is given to me like this. Name and ID. So what will now happen in that particular case is nothing to worry. Power BI will put ID below ID and it will put name below the name. So the column name should be same. Okay. See, number of columns can be different, Lakshman, not a problem. If suppose in this data set, you have one more column of age, the rest of the data would have become null. That would have happened. Got it? So number of columns can be different. That's not a problem. Okay. Example now, for example, the column names are different. Suppose if it is name and it is employee ID. Now see, in this particular case, now what is going to happen is you will not get any error, right? You will not get any error. The output that will get created, it will be something like this. ID name, employee ID. And you will see your names are coming over here like this. And employee IDs will come over here. This is how the data will look like. Right? So in case the column names are different, then you will actually have to make sure that you have renamed it. Rename it as ID and then append it. So then it will append perfectly fine. It will put ID below ID and name below the name. You just have to make the names and bring the names at the same level. That's what you will have to do. Make sense? Are we all clear on this, all of you? Perfect. See, now I have explained the concept. So what I will do now is I will show you how do we actually do that append. It's just one click, right? Now, how do we do it? See, first of all, you have to select which table acts as the main table. Do you want to make this as a main table or this as a main table? So I will say that I would like to append the data below this. So I will select my orders table and I will say append queries. So when I say append queries, it will give me this option. Okay, under the table of orders, what do you want to append? I am saying I want to append orders, new region, and click OK, and you are done. So that is how you append the queries over here in Power BI. Now you will notice if I come to the region, and I say load more, you see it. I can see new region and new region 2 also, which is coming from this data set. So my append has happened successfully in this case over here right now. Are we all clear on this? Any questions over here now? All right. Okay. Now see what happened is the next part. Yes, Dinesh, you can do that. See, you want to see that example also. See, let me show you. Suppose over here, I renamed the row ID as transaction ID. See, I have renamed it. See, now if you will see over here in the orders table, now because of that different column name, right? Because of the different column name, so what is going to now happen is, you will see I have got row ID also, and in the last you will see transaction ID, like this. We have got the two columns over here. Okay, so that because the column names were different, so it has made separate columns over here. Okay, so if I will see, if you will see, if I go back there and I bring this name to the same level, see in the orders table also the data will be corrected out. Now you will not see any transaction ID over here. So Krishna, the step of append is this. I have selected my first table orders. I just have to select it and I will say append queries. And I'm saying below orders, I want to bring the data of orders new region. And if I click on OK, it's done. Got it? So Abhay, because data is getting appended now, like this same example that I've explained you, because one column name was different if it was employee ID. So when the IDs are coming, this will be null. And when these are coming, this will be null. That's why you were seeing those null values. Got it? Okay. Now the next activity that we will do over here is that is called as merge queries. Okay, we will be now talking about merge queries. Now, what is merge query? Let's try to understand this up. See, if I have a data like this, ID name, ID age. Suppose this is how I have the data with me. Okay, right. So right, brother, that is joins. So if I have the data over here like this with me, will it make sense if I put the data one below the another? If I put this data below this? Nope. Because I can clearly see from this data that this data is related. Like I can see from here that the person whose name is A, his age is 21. The person whose name is C, his age is 23. What is the age of D, everyone? What's the age of D? What is the age of D? Null. It's not given to me in the data, right? I can see the data because ID of D is 4 and over here I have 5. So data of that 4 is not available with me. So the reason I'm talking about this over here is because when you do the merge, when we do the merge, we have to apply the concept of joins. See, now if you see over here, I have a column of ID and I have a column of ID. Okay, I have two columns with me. Here I can see that I have an ID over here. So for making a merge, we need to ensure that we have some common fields between the two tables right now. That is the most important thing that we need to ensure. Now, over here, we use the exact same concept of inner join and outer join. Okay, outer join is of left join, right join, and full join. Now, joins are logical depending upon what data you are trying to, look at. What is your end objective or what is your goal? That is how you have to take a call that which joint should I be creating between the two tables. So like, for example, in this case, I have, like, if I first explain you the inner join, what does inner join do? It gives common data between the tables. So like, for example, if these are the two tables, what are the common fields? 1, 2, 3. So the output that I will get will be this. If I make an inner join between the two tables, this is what I will get as an output. Clear to all of you? Because 4 is present only in this table, 5 is present only in this table, 1, 2, 3 is common. Okay. Now, if you take a look on your screen, can I say that this is a left table and this is a right table? So I have two tables, left and right. See, if you will make a left join, if you make a left join, it gives complete data from the left table and matching from the right table. So if you make a left join, this is what you will get. 1, 2, 3, and this over here. 4 will come out as null. So this is the output that you will get if you make a left join. All right. And if you make a right join gives you complete data from the right table. You will get everything from here and matching data from the left table. So this is what you will get if you make a right join. Okay. And if you make a full join, see, full join is getting the complete data from both the tables. You will get 1, 2, 3, 4, and you will get 5 also. This is how you will get an output if you make a full join. No, so but the union is append. Union is append. The append that we did, that was union. Okay, but this is join. In this, see, in the union, your number of rows increase. In joins, your number of columns increase. That's the difference between both of them. So union is append. No, it's not same. If you will do the union also, in that case, union also, if you will do the union between these two tables, right? So if you will make a union, the table will be, data will be loaded from here and it will be copied below like this. That is what a union will be. So that's why I wanted to correct you, because you are, many of the people actually think the same. They say, okay, union and full join is same. No, that's not. Union will be this and full join will be this. Okay. All right. So are you all clear on the 4 types of joins that we have discussed, everyone? Right, Pratap? So we also have 2 more joins, which is NT left and NT right. See, these 2 joins are basically, present only in the, they come as standalone name in the Power BI only. They are not there in the other type of, like in the SQL, we do not use them explicitly. So NT left means data present only in left table, and right NT means data present only in right table. That's what we understand by these two joints, right? Like left NT will be this. This is output of left NT, and this is the output of right NT. The data present only in left table, data present only in right table. That's called as left NT and right NT. Got it, everyone? Any questions still here? Perfect. So guys, let's go for a short break here, right? You can all refresh yourself, have some water and tea, and then we'll just start it up.
Hi, everyone. So, thanks for being part of this edTalk. While you guys are on a break, I would like to make an announcement that if any one of you or every one of you leaves a feedback for edForce, you will get the links on Google. On Google reviews, if you leave a feedback for edForce and this edTalk, it'll be great. We'll be mailing you a Amazon voucher of 1,000 rupees. We would just be waiting for your feedback. All you have to do is write a feedback, give us a rating, and after that, take a screenshot, share it with me on my email address, and everything will come to you by Zoom on the mail. And then after that, you would be eligible for your voucher, which will come to you in 7 days. Once again, I like to repeat, please give a feedback. You will be receiving all the details. You'll get an Amazon voucher of 1,000 rupees for that. I'm sure Amit must be back on the way. Please leave a nice feedback for edForce on Google reviews. We'll be mailing you Amazon vouchers of 1,000 rupees. Please don't edit your old reviews. You will have to add reviews from another Gmail ID. Please email me the screenshot from your Gmail ID only so that we can track. Yeah, and you'll be receiving Amazon voucher. More details will come on the mail. Thank you. Hi, we are on a short break. Amit will be joining us back. In the meanwhile, I request you to please leave reviews on Google. You'll be getting Amazon vouchers. More detail will follow. Do mail me from your Gmail address only.
Okay, so let's start, everyone. Okay. So
Hi,
I hope,
Amit. Welcome back. You may
yeah,
start.
hey, nice touch,
Thank you.
right? See, now what we will do is, so we have understood what exactly merge queries are, right? We have understood the concept over here right now. Now, the next activity that we do over here is we implement it. Okay. So for doing this, if I come back to the Power Query, I'm going to say new source, and I will use the option of Excel workbook, and I'm going to make a connection to my file, which is by the name of sample superstore Power BI. So I'll open that and load that file. See, in this file over here in this, we have, this file over here by the name of orders. We have a file by the name of, sorry, not orders, orders we already loaded. We have a file by the name of returns. See, in returns, what you have is you have the data regarding those orders which were returned by the customer. See, many times it happens with us also, right? Like we order something from Amazon, we don't like it, we return it. So that orders that were returned, that information is given to me over here in this table of returns. So I'll select it and I'll click on OK over here so that the data gets loaded. Okay, you will see the data has been now loaded over here of returns. So when you take a look on this data, do I need any cleansing on this, everyone? Do I need to clean something over here? Promoted headers. So what will I do? I'm going to say use first row as headers. So my headers are sorted. Now see, in this table, I have the data of those orders which were returned by the customer. Over here, I have the data of those orders which were returned by the customer. Now, if I ask you, okay, I would like to take this information in my orders table. What is the common field between orders and returns? Order ID. The common field between the two is order ID. So I will select my orders table. I will select my orders table. And in the orders table, what I do is over here, I will click over here on the option of merge queries. I will click on the option of merge queries. Okay. Now, when you click on merge queries, this is where you will see the orders table and with which table do you want to join it. So if I click on the drop down, see now, like, there was a question that was being asked, can we make a self join? See, if you select that same table again, yes, that will make your self join, right? But I want to join it with the returns table. So I will select returns table over here. And when I do that, when I've selected that table, now both the two tables are selected. So you will notice the two tables have been selected. Now over here, what you have to do is the table that is first, that act as a left, the table that is below act as a right. That's how you have the tables, left and right. What I have to do is I have to combine these two tables. So what will I do? First of all, I have to highlight the common field, order ID, order ID. Now here you will find the option of join kind. Which type of join do you want to create? So which join should I create? See what will now happen if I will make an inner join, right? If I make an inner join, okay. If you will make an inner join, see what will happen in that particular case is that is going to give you the data only of the common order IDs. And common order IDs will be the order IDs which are returned. Am I right? Because see, in the orders table, I have the list of all the orders that I have sold. And in this, I have only the orders which are returned. So if I make an inner join, I will be left behind with the data which was returned. But I don't want to keep the return data. I would like to keep complete data so that I can identify which order was returned and which was not returned. So what will I do in this case? I will make a left join. So if I make a left join and I click on OK, you will see your join is created. And what Power BI does over here, it shows you the complete table over here in the last. So Power BI shows you the complete table in the last. You will just click on this little arrow over here to bring the columns of that. So if I click on this and I click OK, see the columns of that table, they are fetched. Okay, so that's how the join has happened. Now this is the way where we have been able to merge it. Now see, wherever it is null, what does that mean? This order is returned or not returned? Wherever you see the null, not returned, right? And wherever you have this matching information, that means it is returned. See, I'll repeat this step, what I have done. I will delete this step, merged queries. I'm going to say merge queries. I want to merge the orders with returns. And I select the common column. Order ID is the common field. Okay, then I will just say left join and click OK. So when you make a merge, you will see the complete table is attached. And if you click over here, I can say I want to bring both the columns from the table. So that's how we are able to achieve the joins. Simple and easy, everyone. Any doubts or questions on this? See, now if you take a look on this column over here, I think it will be tough for me to identify, like, I mean, for any person, if I say null, that person might not be able to understand that the null means not returned, right? Don't you think it will be better if I can, replace these values from null to not returned? Correct? So what will I do? I will select this column and I will say replace values. So if I click on replace values, I'm going to say I want to replace null with not returned. Now, also please remember another thing, Power Query is case sensitive. Okay, like whatever, if you write null in the uppercase, it will not replace it. If I write it like this, so it will not replace it. Nothing has changed. So Power Query is case sensitive. But if I go back here and I make it as null, see, now if it will be replaced. Okay. And secondly, now I would like to replace the values. I would like to replace yes with returned. So that is also achievable, and you will see the values have been replaced. And this is what you will see now, returned, not returned, everything is now visible in front of you. Correct? So that's where we have done the merging of the data. So we have seen append also, we have seen merge also. Let's take one more example of merge. See, if I go back to the new source, and now, this will something which will brush up your concept of merge also, append also. So I will say Excel workbook, and let me grab the data from sample superstore. And I will load the data from people. See, now people, is a table in which what I have is I have the name of the manager and the region. Like Anna is the manager of West region, Chuck is the manager of the East region. So I have the name of the managers and the region of which they are the managers. So I will click on OK. Oh, sorry. Right? You can see the data has been loaded from the people tab. Do I need any cleaning on this? Yes. Can I say remove blank rows? And I will say use first row as header. So you can see the data has been corrected out. All right. So I've applied two steps, remove the blank rows, first row as header. So all of you, I should merge this table with which table? With which table should I merge it? Orders. People table, I will merge with the orders. So that what happens now is so that I can see the name of the manager also in the same table. I want that my orders table will act as a master table now, right? My orders table will act as a master table where I want that everything that I have over there, I mean, should be present in that table. So what is the common field between orders and people? Region. Very nice. So I'll select orders and I will say merge queries. And now I'm going to merge it with people. And the common field is region. Region over here, and okay. See, I merged the two tables. And if I expand it, I will bring the name of the person. I will not bring the region again. I will just bring the person or the manager name. And there you see my data has come up over here from that table now. Got it, everyone? Okay. Now, if you all would have noticed something in this, that see in the people table, you have the data of only 4 regions. And how many regions do I have over here? Just allow me 1 second. Right? So if you see over here in the people table, how many regions do we have? Only 4. And how many regions do we have in this orders table? We have 6 regions. So we don't have the data of 2 of the managers in this. All with me? We don't have the data of 2 of the managers? Yes? So I want, see, because if I will go in the orders table, if suppose I select over here, I will select my region as this. If I select 2 of my regions, new region and new region 2, see, you will see that manager name will be coming null. See, right? The manager name is coming as null. Let me call it as manager. Okay, the manager names are coming null, right? So what will I do? I want to have the manager name for them as well. Now I just got the information that the manager for East, see if I open that file, this is the file from where the data is loaded. So if I come over here, in the people data, I will say, okay, for the new region and for new region 2, I have added the manager name. Okay, so I am saying for new region, the manager name is John, and for new region 2, the manager name is Dave. Okay, this is how I have the data. See, I have added the data over here. I have saved that Excel and I have closed it. Now, if I go back to my Power BI, okay, I'll click on the sheet of people and let me refresh the preview. See, I've refreshed the preview. See, I have got this information. Why is it coming null? 1 second. This was John, and this was Dave. I think that got left out. So now I'll just simply come here and I will refresh the preview. See, I got the name. And see, because the data is updated here in the orders table also, you will notice the information will now be updated over here. So you will see the manager. Let me refresh it. Once I refresh the preview, you will see the data is. Just give me a second. All right. Sorry. So if you see right now, the data is updated. So let me just check this out now. See, if I click on the manager, load more. See, you can see the manager name coming as Dave and John. So the manager, the data that I've added later on, that is also something which is now reflecting over here. And now once I click on this, I can say apply. So all my changes will be applied over here in the system. Are we clear on this, all of you? All right. See, now this is what you have as a major lifting, if you will see, when it comes to Power Query. See, you have seen appending, merge, right? Replace values, right? Removing rows. So this is how you are trying to bring the data right now in a perfect shape as of now. If I click on transform, now you will find bundle of options over here. See, like group by, use first row as header, these we have already seen, right? Like split column. These are the options which are again repeating over here in the transform tab. So now, for example, you have an option of transpose. See, if you click on transpose, what this will do, this will just convert your data from rows to column, columns to rows. That is what the transpose does. So transpose is just transposing your data up. Make sense, all of you? See, from rows to column, that's what the transpose does. But I don't want to transpose. I will delete the step from here. Now, the next thing that I will do is, if you want to reverse the rows, if you click on reverse rows, it is going to take the data upside down. Above rows will go down, down rows will come up. That is what this option does, the transpose. Right, transpose is converting the data and reverse row is making the data up and down. Now, the next option that you will see over here is we have the option of count rows. See, if you click over here on count rows, it will give you the count of rows in this right now that you have. That will give you how many rows that you have in your data. Okay. If you really want to quickly check how many rows of data you have in your table, you can do that. Okay. But you make sure you delete the step. Otherwise, you will be only left behind with that one number over here, which says that how many rows you have. Similarly, if you come in the transform, you have the options of renaming a column, which you can do it by double clicking also, or you can click on the option of rename. That's when you can do it. Okay. You have the option of replace values, which we have already seen. Okay. You will find one option of fill. See, what is fill? Fill is more like, what happened is, let me explain you with the Excel. Suppose I have some data. Names are given to me, Sam, Jack, Leo, Roy. See, now what happens in this particular case is, if I have some missing values, if I will say fill down, I will get Leo. If I will say fill up, I will get Troy. So I can use any of the option. Either I can say fill down or I can say fill up. Whatever option you like, that can be used. All right, everyone. Then if you come in this, you have the option of pivoting and unpivoting. See, this is a very interesting option that we have. Right now, what is the pivoting and unpivoting? We will just talk on that. See, pivoting and unpivoting. See, basically what happened is, see, there is something which is called as machine readable data, and one is human readable data. Okay, so we have machine readable data and we have something called as human readable data. So what is machine readable data, everyone? When we talk about machine readable data, it is something like one type of data in one column, right? You will have all the names in one column, age in one column, gender in one column. But suppose if I give you the data like this, India, US, UK. I am saying male, female. Males are 20, 21, 22. Females are 8, 9, 18, 19, 20. Okay, this is suppose I have the data. Now see, if you see, male and female are actually genders, but both the genders are coming in two different columns, male in one column, female in one column. So in this case, I cannot use this data for any of my analysis. This data cannot be used for any of my analysis. So in this case, what I will be doing over here is I will actually have to unpivot this data. I will have to unpivot this data. Unpivot means basically bringing columns into rows. So my data should actually become like this. Over here, gender, male, you get the males over here, count, and then you will have the same thing, and you will have the female, and you will have the female count over here. That is something which we call it as unpivoting of the data. Okay, that's something which we call it as unpivoting of the data. Does it make sense to all of you? What is unpivoting? Now I'll show you how this unpivoting is actually done over here in this. Just give me 1 second. So what I'll do is I will show you this up over here. So let me just copy this data up. I'll just copy this. I'll come over here. See now, like, we were talking about enter data. See, if I click on enter data now, I can just paste the values here. See, I have made my now table by typing the data in this, right? So I have made my table over here by typing the value inside it over here. So I will call it as I'm going to call this as unpivot. Okay, I will call this table as unpivot. And how I'm going to now unpivot this data up, that's what we will see.
Recording in progress.
Okay. So to do in this case is we are just going to unpivot this data. And how do we do it? Select the column of male and female. All of you just, you just have to select the two columns, male and female. And I simply have to say transform unpivot. See, you will see this becomes the gender. This becomes the count. Is this point clear to all of you? What we have done in this? What is pivoting and what is unpivoting? All right. Now, just exactly the opposite of unpivoting is pivoting. Suppose if I select column and I say pivot it, and I want to show the value of count. See, male and female, the data comes back into the same shape the way it was. The data comes into the same shape the way it was previously. So that's how I have unpivoted the data. This is the example of unpivoting. Got it? Now, similarly, if you come, you have some options of formatting, right? Like if I select the table of orders and you would like to do some formatting of the data. For example, if I select the column of shipping mode, you want to say, I want to format this data into uppercase, right? You can do that up. If you say you want to convert this data into capitalize each word, you can do that up. So these are now the options that are now left behind. They are more of some basic and quick options that can be used in order to do some cleansing on that data, right? So formatting, you want to apply some statistics, right? So like, for example, if I say we have column of sales, you quickly want to see what is the total sales. You want to see what is the sum of sales. See, you can see the sum of sales from here. Okay. So you want to see the sum of sales, we can do that. If I delete this step, you want to see the average of sales, you can do that up. So these are the, the different options that you will find in order to perform different data cleansing activities. Make sense, all of you? And if you come to the add column, in the add column, you have some more steps. Like, for example, you want to make a duplicate of a column. You can select the column, you want to duplicate a column, you can duplicate that up. Okay. See, one more copy of that column is created. You can add some conditional columns. Like, for example, I am saying for sales, I have a column of sales. I am saying I want to add a conditional column where I'm going to call it as sales status. And I will say if the sales is greater than 500, I want to call it as high sales. Add a clause. If the sales is greater than 300, I want to call it as medium sales. Else, I want to call it as low sales. See, I can apply all the steps, and based on that, a conditional column can be added into my data. So I've written my own conditions. Based on that, the data has been added. Getting it, all of you? Okay. Once you have done the changes, you just have to come back on the home and you will say apply. So all the changes will be done. Correct. So this is how you use Power Query to shape up your data, bring the data into the desired shape, and start working with that. Right. So any questions, queries you all would like to all discuss? Everyone? So are you all able to understand this concept of Power Query that we have learned and applied? Now see, although we have not kept that part because that was something we definitely will be coming with more such webinars where I'll be showing the charts also. But yes, I would like to show you some of the charts here. See, once your data is ready, now you can see the charts over here. Like if I pick the stacked column chart, the chart is picked up, and I would like to see the sales by manager. So I pick the manager and I pick the sales. See, the chart is ready. Okay. I want to make a pie chart to show sales by segment. So you pick up the field of segment and you bring the sales. This is done. Okay. That's the charts are created. So see, for Krishna, for doing that, we actually have to use DAX, right? So we use the concept of DAX for that, for adding more conditions, and DAX provides us a lot more flexibility in terms of making our calculated columns and measures both. Okay, so that's something which we cover in the aspect of when we talk about Power Query. Okay. Any other quick questions, anyone? See, actually transposing the data will be useful in that case. Suppose if someone has given you the data like this: name, ID, age. If the data is like this, if you will load in this Power BI, this is the data you will actually have to transpose it. You will have to transpose it to make it look like this. Okay. So Kiran, append means putting the data one below the another. That is what append is. And merge is adding the more columns like this, combining the data horizontally. Append is combining the data vertically, and this is horizontally. Okay. Lokesh, we can do that up, but for that, you have to set up the gateways. For that, we have to use the Power BI service and we have to use the gateway. Okay. See, pivoting is if the data is like this. If the data is given to you like this, right? Genders are given to me in two different columns. So I will be unpivoting it. Unpivoting means bringing the data genders in one column and count in the respective column. Okay. And then what we do is we talk about, when we talk about pivoting, pivoting is if the data is in this shape and you want to bring it in this shape, that is pivoting. So unpivot and pivot are opposite of each other. If you want to bring this data in this shape, that is unpivot, and this data in this shape, that is pivot. Got it? So I think I'll share the link with you, Ashish. So basically, you can ask for the recording link where actually you will find the detailed the session that we had on the representation. How to make the charts and the complete, and using the same data. Using the same data, we made a complete report. If you'll ask the team for that link, they will provide you on that. Yep. So we are done for the day, everyone. Right. Thanks, everyone, so much.